Everybody, welcome to Veteran Uncensored. I'm Chris Rodriguez, your host for this show. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, follow on Spotify or whatever you get your platforms, your listening platforms. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Rather said, my goodness. We are live on X. We are live on Rumble. We are live on YouTube. If you want to watch us live, subscribe to the YouTube channel, to the X account, to the Rumble. You can find us at Veteran Uncensored on X. Right now, we are at US Vet Uncensored. And follow us there. You listen, I give my opinion, uncensored opinion. I'm a U.S. veteran, and I feel like I have a lot to say. And a lot of you may agree, may disagree. I don't know, whatever it is. But at least we can interact and have an opinion. I do recognize that as of late, I've been letting nonsense or non-common sense take the best out of me, and I've been reacting a lot. And I'm going to put it down a little bit because I want to give you a neutral ground perspective on all things, on all political things, and everything that's going on in the country. And however, I've also been dealing with a lot of stuff that's that's just outrageous that comes from a certain side of the spectrum. And I don't agree with them, but I'm going to be try to be as neutral as I can and be objective as I can. And I'm definitely going to be that tonight because we're going to talk about Donald Trump and, well, not so much about Donald Trump, but we're going to talk about the Epstein files and how nobody knows what's happened. And to me, that's a travesty. I think that the American people has been lied to by this administration. That's Pan Bundy and the FBI directors and Bongino and company. They have lied to us. They have lied to us. If there was no files or no clients, they should have just said no. There's nothing. But no, they said, and there's another lady that went on Piers Morgan show, and she said that very much so the list is crazy. The clients, the names are crazy. And then you got Elon Musk saying that Trump is in that list when he got into a disagreement with him. And it brought all the conspiracy theorists to say that, oh my goodness, Donald Trump, our president, he is a rapist, a murderer, whatever you want to call it, right? I don't think Donald Trump was on that list, but we're going to talk about that. Let's not get carried away, shall we say? We're going to talk. Obviously, got to talk about the Texas floods. That's been something that's just horrific. We're going to talk about the Epstein files, Elon Musk's new America Party. We're going to talk about that. What do we think about the America Party? Is that going to be something that's going to stay, that's here to stay, or what's going on with that? We're going to talk about that in a second. And obviously Trump responded to Musk. Musk responded to Trump. We're going to mention that. And could Diddy be allowed to make a comeback after getting cleared of serious charges? We're going to discuss that, of course, because some people are saying that, he's going to walk. I don't know about all that, but listen, let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it, right? Because we got to talk about what the most important thing that's been going on in the country, at least since this weekend, and just because it is a catastrophic events that's happening with the girls' summer camp, confirming 27 children. By the time of this, by the way, the numbers keep increasing. The numbers keep increasing, but 27 children have been confirmed and staff killed in Texas flooding. At least 27 campers and counselors died when the Guadalupe. No, that's 27. That number is wrong. That's over 90 now. 90 people. And I think that's. I mean, what do you do when a situation like that happens? Well, you got to pray about it, obviously. Being a Christian myself, you can do nothing other than just praying about the situation. Help whenever you can, obviously. If you're in the surrounding areas, help out. But it's just been a catastrophic series of events, and all these girls that go out there in camp, that go from different states, different places. It's just been really awful to see what's been going on. I know a lot of people have been trying to politicize this whole situation, going at the Doge cuts. We're gonna talk about that, and we're gonna bring it up. We got a few videos that we need to react from CNN, from also News Nation, to keep a little bit of neutral perspective. News Nation is CNN obviously is left sided. So some people may not believe what they say, but July 4th. It was July 4th when this happened. Sad, unfortunate, very damaging. A lot of people dead, children dead. To me, that's just horrific. A lot, according to, this is at the time, by the way. When was this written? 12 hours ago. According to Kerr County Sheriff Larry Latha, 10 girls and 1 counselor were still unaccounted for as of Sunday night. Survivors described the flood as a pitch black wall of death and stated that they received no emergency warnings. Well, that's where the focus is going to be at in a lot of ways, by the way, that they received no warnings whatsoever. That they, and actually my wife was showing me the video of how fast this got out of control. And let me tell you, it goes pretty fast. In 30 minutes, the whole area was flooded. I was watching the video, and I wish I would have asked my wife to send me the video. If you're listening, babe, send me the video so we can have our crack staff put it on the screen. And it's just that the time lapse is unbelievable, how quickly it floods. And, I don't know that anything could have prevented this, but they clearly didn't get any warning. And it's very unfortunate, very, very, very tough. Senator Ted Cruz defended recent FEMA and Weather Service budget cuts, saying they did not delay warnings, while Senate Democrats called the investigations into forecasting delays. President Trump signed a disaster declaration and plans to visit Dallas. Of course, President Trump is meeting with Netanyahu in order to do a peace deal in Israel, between Israel and Gaza. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see what happens when the president goes to Texas. But clearly, this disaster has prompted statewide scrutiny in camp safety protocols and emergency responses as authorities vow to view warnings and evacuations while survivors describe harrowing escapes. And this whole situation has been just horrific. I mean, imagine you sending your kids. I actually know a lot of people that send their kids into these camps to explore, to have fun, to dive into their faith as well. And something horrific like this happens. I mean, it's just too much. It's just way too much. And it's just very sad. How did this how did this happen? How did this happen is a big question. And let's take a look. What is ABC saying? Let's take a look real quick at what they're saying.
Is still under a flood watch today.
Yes, and I want to remind everyone, this is an area of our country, in Hill Country up to Texas, that is known as Flash Flood Alley. They also, going into this, had severe to exceptional drought. Now, obviously, we've had a ton of water, so that's going to play a part in the flood watch that is still up until 7 p.m. It includes the same areas that were hit, but also San Antonio and Austin. Overall, this is for 2 to 4 inches. Locally, up to 10 inches, guys. So this is a big deal the next 24 to 36 hours.
A very big deal. And Ginger, how did this even happen? So much rain falling in such a short time.
Right. Well, part of the problem is what we call an MCV, mesoscale convective vortex. It's a really slow moving system, and it's stuck. There's not a lot of steering winds to get it out of there. And then there are 3 sources of moisture from the Pacific, from the Gulf, and actually from remnants of Barry. That was a storm that hit Mexico more than a week ago. So put all that together, it's like having a kiddie pool and turning 3 faucets on all at once.
And Matt Gutman, in his report, he was telling us there are questions on the ground right now about these warnings and when they went out. What do we know?
Yeah, we know from the AP, they said the National Weather Service offices there were more than staffed. They were staffed extra, actually, which is normal. The National Weather Service confirming to us that that's called surge staffing ahead of a big event like this. The warnings went out, starting with the flood watch at 1:18 p.m. the day before. So that's the day before into the evening of the WPC puts out this saying, 3-inch per hour rainfall rates. They're saying this is going to be bad. Again, 6 p.m. the night before. By midnight, that rain begins. And then at 1:14 a.m., the first flash flood warning goes out. That's the type that goes out on the NOAA weather radio. That's the type that would fly onto your phone. And it had a considerable tag, meaning this is bigger than your run-of-the-mill flood warning. Then the river starts rising, and by 3:35 a.m., that wording is upped. It says, move to higher ground now, act quickly to protect your life. I have to say, just a button here, that having a NOAA weather radio would be very important for everybody, because I think a lot of people are scared, thinking, what's going to happen if I go out camping? Giving yourself just a couple extra minutes. Nothing was perfect here, but guys, there's certainly something that can help, and having that available to you is big.
Bush.
Well, 100%. But you see, the way she described it there, they had warnings. They had some warnings. Now, listen, this doesn't fall on the kids. Obviously, the kids are kids, but you need to question who these warnings. Somebody should have been taking a look. And listen, it's easy to blame now. A lot of people have passed away, have gone. And that in itself is unfortunate. That in itself is unfortunate. But the fact of the matter is that they did send warnings. I thought they'd never send warnings, which is something that I didn't think of. But listen, I don't want to pass blame on anybody. But at the end of the day, the people who were questioning, did they provide warnings? And they certainly did. Severe warnings. Now let's learn more about the victims, shall we?
Range from young to old and include a family of 6 spanning multiple generations. We're learning more about the victims of the flood disaster and the survivors trying to come to terms with what they witnessed.
I had to swim through a window and hold on to the meter box outside of the house.
28-year-old Christian Fell says he stood on the electric meter box outside his home for nearly 3 hours to stay alive.
Wow.
27-year-old Julian Ryan died heroically, saving his kids by placing them on a floating mattress.
Mercy.
Beloved high school teacher Jeff Wilson, who taught auto body repair, also lost his life in the flood. His wife and son are missing.
He was able to build relationships with kids. Maybe kids that didn't fit the traditional classroom model.
And at Camp Mystic, where more than 24 campers were swept away in the night, at least 11 are confirmed dead. Among them, Janie Hunt, the 9-year-old cousin of Kansas City Chiefs owner Clark Hunt. His wife announcing Janie's death, saying, "If your heart is broken, I assure you God is near."
Mercy.
18-year-old camp counselor Chloe Childress is being remembered for her work with senior citizens. The head of her high school saying, "Chloe made space for others to feel safe, valued, and brave." Those who knew Camp Mystic's owner, Dick Eastland, say he died heroically, trying to rescue campers. His grandson writing, "If he wasn't going to die of natural causes, this was the only other way, saving the girls that he so loved and cared for."
He was, a man that made everyone feel safe and seen. He was just an extremely selfless person, and he showed that until the very end.
Once was lost, but now I'm found.
On Friday, hundreds of girls able to evacuate from Camp Mystic sang songs through their tears as they rode a bus through the devastation. The NFL and singer Shakira are among those already donating to the flood relief effort. If you want to help, donations can be made to the Kirk County Flood Relief or to the World Central Kitchen.
Lord have mercy. Have mercy on their souls. I mean, this is just too much. It's catastrophic. That's what this is. And I mean, listen, this puts so much into perspective. When you get into these political debates and then, who's right, who's wrong, left and right, new political parties, etc., it just puts so much into perspective. And just pray for these families and these kids. And man, it's just too much. And God would challenge you in different ways. And we don't know everything that He has intended for us, but. And sometimes we're not made to be able to comprehend what he does, but at the end of the day, we know that He is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and He knows it all, and we just got to follow His guide, and that's it, and trust that He is in charge. And it's hopefully these families can recover, and this can be as smoothly as it can go as smoothly as it can. Now, there is a hero that has been praised because he went out there, and the number here is 165 people that he has saved, the Coast Guardsmen, and I think there's more now, over 200 people that he saved. And I want to give a honorable mention to him and actually take a look at an interview that he did with ABC News. And by the way, I have to be fair to ABC News. People say that they're biased, they're leftist, and whatever, and they might be, but in this particular case, they didn't go that route to blame, especially in these videos, to blame the Doge cuts. They actually said that they were warnings ahead of time, and nobody took action. But let's go with this Coast Guard rescuer that helped save over 200 lives in Texas flash floods.
Are being hailed as a hero for saving 165 people in the floods at Camp Mystic. Scott Ruskin joins us now. Scott, thank you for joining us this morning. Tell us what happened.
Hey, good morning, everyone. So I'll kind of give you guys a quick synopsis of what was going on. The Coast Guard launched us and decided to send a rescue crew from Air Station Corpus Christi at about 6:30, 7 a.m. on Friday, the 4th of July. I just happened to be on the duty crew with Ian Hopper, Blair Rougefort, Seth Reeves, some of our crew members in the Coast Guard. And they sent us out. We kind of encountered some pretty serious weather, some of the worst flying we've ever dealt with personally. It took us, which should have been an hour flight, probably took us about 7 or 8 just to get into the landing zone. Once made about 4 different approaches trying to get in, we were able to get boots on the ground with the Air National Guard, Department of Public Safety for Texas, game wardens. And when we decided to leave me on scene at Camp Mystic, that was kind of our main triage site we were trying to help out with. And we decided, hey, if we leave the rescue swimmer on scene, we'll have more space in our Dolphin MH-65. So based on that, I got on scene, boots on the ground at Camp Mystic. Kind of discovered I was the only person there as far as like first responders go. So yeah, I had about 200 kids mostly, all scared, terrified, cold, having probably the worst day of their life, and I just kind of need to triage them, get them to a higher level of care, and get them off the flood zone with a lot of the US-60 Army helicopters.
Talk about how that works. You got 165, close to 200 kids there. How do you get them out? Just one by one?
Yeah, sir, it's a great question. So the United States Army National Guard was landing their 60s with Task Force 1, some of their rescue swimmers, and they were able to land. We kind of came up with 2 different landing zones. There was one off an archery field and then one at a soccer field. So yeah, we were able to kind of land those 60s in there. And then I was kind of the main guy as far as like grabbing people, usually like 15 to 10 kids at a time, maybe one adult with them, and bringing them over to those 60s and getting them to a different LZ that was kind of safe and had more first responders than just myself out there.
Had you ever done this before?
No, this is my first one. I haven't had any cases before. I've been a rescue swimmer for about a year, fully trained for about 6 months. So yeah, this is my first experience, but I really just kind of relied on the training we get. Coast Guard rescue swimmers get some of the highest level training in the world. So really just kind of relied on that, and that, just knowing that any of the rescue swimmers in the Coast Guard would have done the exact same, if not better than me. So
training is one thing, but this was the real deal.
Yeah, this is definitely the real deal, but I just remembered that, when I got on scene, there was, 200 kids looking to someone for some sort of comfort and safety. They don't really know what my experience is or my rank or my age. They just know, hey, this guy's a professional and he's here to help us, and I kind of had to live up to that standard. But yeah, the real heroes, I think, were the kids on the ground. Like, those guys are heroic, and they were dealing with some of the worst times of their lives, and they were staying strong, and that helped inspire me to kind of get in there and help them out.
Well, you sure stayed strong as well. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Oof.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Unbelievable. This is a hero, man. Thank him for his service. Thank you for your service. God bless you, brother. Another fellow military man who just new in the job, but he relied on his training, and that's all you can do. As soon as you graduate, you are ready, and you gotta just rely on your training and whatever you've done, whatever you've been taught. Rely on that, and you'll be all right. And unbelievable. I mean, saving over 200 kids. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Over 200 people he saved, mostly kids who can't really swim on their own, they rely on him, and he knew that, as he said there. So shout out to that American hero. He's unbelievable. God bless him. God bless him. But the questions have been raising whether the NOAA or the NWS, if the weather people have been understaffed, and that was the reason why people weren't notified in time. Well, we heard from ABC News that people were notified. Maybe not to the extreme, you got to save your life right now, which that happened, I think, around at 1 a.m. in the morning. But regardless, they were warned and something should have happened. But let us go with CNN first. And I know that people are not going to like CNN. Some will. And then we're going to go to News Nation, who also covered the same thing. So let's go and see, did this have something to do with this flood not being prevented, or these deaths and casualties not being prevented? As we see, CNN brought in a climate scientist discussing the impacts of NWS and NOAA staffing. So let's go.
Is defending itself regarding the alerts that it issued and the timing of them. Christina Dahl, the vice president of Climate Central, addressed the role of staffing at NWS and other federal agencies and whether cuts are potentially impacting forecasts.
I think it's too early to say. I mean, we do know that the National Weather Service issued multiple warnings about flood risk, and so clearly they were getting messages out. They do have a vacancy right now in a critical position called the Warning Coordinating Meteorologist, and so it could be that vacancy had connections to local authorities who could have helped to raise the early warnings for residents. But generally, a weather forecast office for the National Weather Service has someone on staff 24 hours watching the radar to see what is happening in terms of precipitation, rainfall, other threats. And there are National Weather Service offices throughout the country that, because of staffing cuts, are no longer staffing their offices 24 hours a day. And so we need these critical people to be keeping us safe 24 hours a day in every one of these offices across the country. And the second piece of this is that staffing cuts at NOAA, or the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, more broadly, are threatening the future ability to forecast events better. Forecasting a storm like this one, where exactly is the heaviest rain going to fall? How is it going to translate from rain into flooding? These are extremely challenging problems scientifically, and it's the research of NOAA that enables us to improve our forecasts year over year so that we can more accurately pinpoint the warnings that need to go out to the public.
Now, the very reports designed to warn us of these extreme weather risks have seemingly disappeared. Legally mandated national climate assessments, long used by state and local officials to prepare for climate impacts, have been quietly removed from federal websites. The White House says the info will now be housed within NASA. Joining me now, the man who helped build this very system that's now being taken apart, John Holdren. He's the co-director of the Science, Technology, and Public Policy program at Harvard University's Belfer Center and a former science advisor for President Obama. Thank you so much for being with us on this holiday weekend. Let's start here. For viewers who might just be hearing about this, what exactly are these national climate assessments, and what does it mean that they've effectively vanished from federal websites?
Well, the national climate assessments of climate change impacts on the United States were mandated in a 1990 act of Congress, the U.S. Global Research Act of 1990. And they are supposed to be produced roughly every 4 years. Some have been slow, but on the whole, there have been 5 such reports produced. The 6th was recently canceled in midstream by President Trump. And the 5 previous ones, which were all posted on the U.S. Global Change Research Program's website, have disappeared for the moment. They may show up on the NASA website. We can hope so. But the whole fiasco is simply one aspect of a campaign by the Trump administration to dismantle large parts of the U.S. research establishment, and in particular, to dismantle every effort to better understand and predict what climate change is doing in the United States.
All right, so to stay unbiased and neutral, let's watch another source, News Nation, who really like to call themselves being a neutral central channel, cable news network. So let's watch them as they ask the question: Did Doge cuts delay Texas flood warnings? They asking that. So let's not waste any time. Let's go right to it.
Has now confirmed that all 27 campers and counselors previously reported as missing after this weekend's devastating floods are dead. Of course, our continued thoughts with those parents who are just living their absolute worst nightmare right now. Cannot get those little girls' faces out of my head as communities there grieve and continue to search for answers. A political storm is brewing. People have questions about this. Some critics are blaming Doge cuts to the National Weather Service for putting those lives at risk. Mills Hayes has been digging into this one for us and is here to sort all the facts from the finger pointing that's going on. Mills, a lot of people, especially parents right now, are looking for some sort of answer. What'd you find out?
Good morning to you, Marky. And awful news coming out of Camp Mystic this morning. And we have reviewed some of those budget sheets and warning timelines and also the rainfall data to see whether those Doge cuts really did slow the alarms or not.
Oh, my God.
The cuts are real. About 15% of NOAA staff were fired or took a buyout since President Trump took office. With Houston's forecast office without a head meteorologist.
Pick your favorite ball team, and now imagine that team has, instead of 11 players, has 8 players. They're going to lose. No matter how good they are, they can't do the job of the full team. And that's what's happening at NOAA.
Forecasters warned of flash floods the night before, but their predicted totals came in low, just 5 to 7 inches, far less than what actually fell, with as much as 20 inches of rain reported in parts of central Texas. Alerts went out hours before the worst flooding, but local officials say many people received the alerts in the middle of the night while they were sleeping. Others never received the alerts, and some didn't take them seriously. Now local officials are being held to task about how this was allowed to happen.
One of the questions that still hasn't been answered 3 days into this is, despite TDEM's warning on July 2nd and July 3rd that something like this could have happened, that the threat existed, why that information didn't get down to the camps and why they weren't evacuated. Can you answer that now?
That is a great question. But again, we want to make sure that we continue to focus. We still have 11 missing children that we want to get reunited with our families. Until we can get reunited with their families, we are not going to stop. We are not going to stop until we do. So thank you.
Quick follow-up question, sir. Was any emergency alert given out on the 4th, that morning of? Did anyone get any alerts?
Union leaders say the skeleton crew worked double shifts and still met every warning deadline. They blame the missed rain totals on extreme localized downpours.
There is a failure somewhere along the lines when it comes to the communication of the forecast and the implementation of actions to help try and save life.
Experts warn the real danger is next time. Hurricane season peaks in 6 weeks, and a shrinking NWS could miss a life or death alert. Well, there's no sign the cuts delayed warnings during this flood. They are chipping away at our first line of defense, and House Democrats now want a formal investigation, while Doge officials argue that the move is modernization, not gutting. Marky?
Mills, thank you for the latest there.
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this one. Based on the information they're given, the cuts haven't really been influential with this whole thing, but although there had a guy, an expert there saying that it did, that the cuts, Doge cuts, Elon Musk cuts, whatever you want to call them, did eventually end up in the teams not being able to issue warnings. It is very difficult, especially when people are trying to politicize everything. That makes things very difficult. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I just hope it didn't. But I also have to speak on my own experiences. And ever since this started happening here in Missouri, some of the tornado warnings, some of that stuff haven't been accurate. I don't know factually what numbers and what cuts and who's working and if they're working 24/7. But the fact is that I've experienced also certain situations not looking a little bit weird and not accurate with the weather. And that is something to definitely look at, and cannot afford another disaster like this out of the blue, out of nowhere. We cannot. Um, with that being said, with that being said, I think it's look, I think it's despicable. This TikToker celebrating white girls drowning in Texas. And wokeness share this video. We're gonna share it with you right now, and I think it's a blatant act of racism. As I always say, there's racism against white people in America, and nobody cares. Nobody is punished. People celebrate it, actually, certain individuals. And this person here, talking about the deaths of these young girls in a despicable manner, is something to look at, and something to shame, and it's something to be honest. This is not freedom of speech, man. This is despicable. Let's take a look.
Points it out, but it seems like it needs to get pointed out. So are we not paying attention to majority of the videos that's being shared about this flood and the certain that's on the videos? Hopefully this is opening up some eyes and showing people that he watches. I don't matter who's watching. They're watching. They see you as a person and what you're teaching your kids and how your children treat others and how you treat others. And maybe y'all weren't the best of, helping thy neighbor unless they were still or the same as you. Because I find it ironic that it was the deep southern of Texas that it happened to. We knew back in the days where they used to do everything deep down in the southern.
What in the actual hell is going on? I apologize. What's going on with this person? What is going on with society today that people have to be this despicable? Thank you to End Wokeness for that video, by the way. What is wrong with people? What is actually wrong with people? I mean, racism against white people is very much real, and people don't want to acknowledge it, but it is real. And I'm a Hispanic man. I have no reason to say otherwise, but I do. This is it. She's saying because of the South, because of the color of the skin, because of what they represented, because of that. Like what? Why do black people hate white people? I don't understand that. Why? Because of what happened 200 years ago, 200 plus years ago. You still ain't gotten over that. I mean, listen, man. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I do not get it at all. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. All right, so we got more stuff. Obviously, very tough what's going on with the floods here. But we gotta go with the breaking news that's been taking over social media, and that is obviously that DOJ and FBI conclude that the Epstein had no client list, and that he killed himself. Which, by the way, I don't have anything against that. That he killed himself. He was going to spend the rest of his life in jail. I don't think he needed motivation to do that. Somebody that's used to living a lavish lifestyle, he was going to be in prison for the rest of his life. It wouldn't be the first time. So I don't really put a conspiracy theory when it comes to that. I don't really put a conspiracy theory. I think Epstein killed himself. I could agree. I buy that, right? Again, it wouldn't be the first time. He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. Blah blah blah. Perfect. Now I know a lot of people are going to say, "Well, it doesn't look right. It's weird." Perfect. You can also think that, but I think I'm going to buy what they're telling me when it comes to the suicide. But what I'm not going to buy is this government lying to the American people. And this government now has proven to lie to the American people. And that's something that I'm not okay with. That's something that I'm just not okay with. Nobody should be okay. No matter if you voted for Trump. I voted for Trump last 2 times. The first time I didn't vote. But the last 2 times I did. And one he won, one he lost. The last one he won, before that he lost. He lost right. There was no conspiracy. There's no, he lost it. He lost it. He lost the election the second time around. But you got to call it for what it is. You got to call balls and strikes. And quite honestly, what Pam Bondi, what Kash Patel, what Bongino are doing is not cool. It's lying to the American people. Either there's a list or they're hiding it for whatever reason. I don't know why. Now people can say Trump is in the list. There is a possibility he is. Perfect. But I don't think so. And I don't support Trump blindly. I could care less. I think he was the best option out of him and Kamala Harris. He spoke common sense. I voted for him. But I don't think he's on that list, because if he was on that list, the simple thing is that the Democratic Party, Biden, they had access to these files. They could have simply said, he would have never been president. They would have showed, listen, he's a rapist, he's a child molester. Here you go. Here's the proof. Because of this, he's on the list, and these are the things that Epstein points out that he did with him, alongside with him. But he never did that. Why did he not do that? I don't understand that. That could have been the easiest win, even for sleepy Joe Biden, the easiest win ever. To just say, here's the list, Trump is in there. He didn't do that because I don't think that he's on that list. Matter of fact, Trump actually helped the government, the authorities, get Epstein in trouble to begin with. I think he was the only one that was willing to help the authorities. Listen, I'm not going to defend Trump over anything. When he does wrong, actually, he's in charge of the government. I think he should tell right now, Pam Bondi and everybody else, listen, release these documents now, because you're making us look like idiots. And if he doesn't do that, then I think Trump is going to make a mistake. I think that's Trump making a mistake there, and that's a bad move, in my opinion. So I would criticize him for it. I don't think he's on that list. Now, people would say, well, what other reason do they have not to release the list? I have no clue. But I know that for a fact, it would have been an easy win for the Democratic Party if he was on that list. Now, you can say, well, maybe a lot of the big names in the Democratic Party are on that list as well. So, yeah, they said, we're not going to bring it up. And it's good for everybody just for it to be quiet. And I think that's kind of sort of what Elon Musk is implying. He's certainly not implying anymore that Trump is on that list. He apologized for it, actually. He took that back. But at the end of the day, he still said it. He still said it. And so, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure why they're not releasing this. But I know I just wouldn't understand why he would be on that list. Unless he's on that list, but alongside other other Democrats, and nobody wants to release the whole thing altogether. By the way, it's kind of weird how Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and all the Democrats that are number one, that Trump is their number one enemy, have not said a single word about this whole situation. It's only been influencers, pundits, YouTube hosts, etc. They're the ones saying stuff. Nobody else. So, but I think Pam Bondi has a lot of questions to answer. I think she does have a lot of questions to answer. And we're going to go with that right now. Let's see what she actually said back in the day. And obviously let's see what she said then. And now she has retracted. Let's go.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
Well, to be fair, she said she didn't review the list. Right now, there's another politician that went on Piers Morgan's show, and she did say it is bad, and bad is bad. And then again, nobody. Why would she say all that? Like, you know, that can't be a lie. That cannot be a lie. They released a video, and now people are saying that's not even the cell that he was in. So at this point, I don't even know what's going on, to be honest. But she did say that. She didn't say that she had looked at the files yet. So in all fairness to her, she didn't know. Now, the other girl, I don't know what her name is, but actually, they should have had her video here. I probably don't at this point. But actually, let's watch the video of the Epstein supposedly. So this here is, let me see what this is. This is supposed to be the cell, the cell where he was being held, I guess. So the Justice Department releases a 10-hour video. This is not the 10 hours, of course, of the night Jeffrey Epstein died, saying it proves he took his own life, saying there is no evidence he kept a client list. The FBI's independent review of this footage confirmed that from the time Epstein was locked in his cell at around 10:40 p.m. on August 9th, 2019, until around 6:30 a.m. the next morning, nobody entered any of the tiers in the shoe. The FBI and DOJ said in a memo. This systematic review had revealed no incriminating client list. There was also no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as a part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation under uncharged third parties. So, I don't know. I mean, this guy here, this is what? Well, that says midnight. That's probably midnight. Yeah, because they got the timer there wrong. But also, there's a picture that says this is not where he was held, because when they put the tape where his body was at, that doesn't look like the same cell. So, they say there is no camera directly in, facing his cell. So they're saying obviously that there's no way they can verify exactly what happened in there. There's no cameras in the cell either, obviously, but they're saying that, and it's a lot of they're saying, because that's what it is. They are saying this. And so I don't know what to believe, but it all seems fishy. Because of the expectation that these people have created. Because of the expectation, it doesn't add up. And I'm trying to find that other girl that said this, by the way, who's who went on Piers Morgan. Actually, I should just go to Piers Morgan. I think he reposted it, and he said this, where he reposted that interview. It'd be good to go find it, actually, because she doubled down. I found it right here. From Alina Habba. I mean, she doubled down. I mean, let's take a watch. Let's not waste any time.
It is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs. We have information, names that will come out.
Wow.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable. Let's talk about the reverse. I believe in accountability. So you have to now go through your process. Now, I won't say they're guilty until they go through their time in court, but again, now it's time for accountability. We have seen for so many years, Pierce, in this country, many investigations, subpoenas, testimonies in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a general frustration with accountability. We take it halfway, we don't take it home. And I really believe that now with Cash and Pam, there will be accountability.
Oh boy.
In this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have
Boy, she was wrong about that one, wasn't she?
names.
She was certainly wrong about that one. There was no accountability. There was nothing that happened. And I mean, she has to be held accountable. Quite honestly, this is a fireable offense. And Pam Bondi, to a certain extent, didn't say anything incriminating. She didn't say, we have all this list of clients, we have all of this, all of that. She didn't say none of that. But this lady did. So I'm wondering, should she be fired? Somebody should be held accountable. That's the problem. Well, she's saying it right there, actually, in the video. Nobody gets held accountable. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'm not buying this whole situation. And I think that this government right now, this administration has let the American people down when it comes to this particular case. Now, listen, people are waking up every day. They got to worry about groceries. They got to worry about gas. They got to worry about their light bill, other important stuff. This is basically just something that's out there, but not really affecting people's lives. It's not. So let's be fair. But at the end of the day, I don't like being lied to, and this administration lied to the American people. So you let me know what you think in the comment section below. All right. With that being said, Elon Musk, the President Trump. Let's go about the what do you call it? The America Party. So the America Party has been started, right? It has been started by Elon Musk. There's an account going on called the America Party, who says they're not affiliated, but I'm pretty sure Elon Musk created an account. It's all of a sudden got almost 300,000 followers. So he's probably doing that to create influence, etc. But listen, quite honestly, you know what? Let's go. What President Trump had to say. How about that? So President Trump here saying, "I'm saddened to watch Elon Musk go completely off the rails, essentially becoming a train wreck over the last the past 5 weeks." He even wants to start a third party a third political party, despite the fact that they have never succeeded in the United States. The system seems not designed for them. The one thing third parties are good for is the creation of complete and total disruption and chaos, and we have enough of that with the radical left Democrats who have lost their confidence in their minds. Republicans, on their other hand, are a smooth running machine that just passed the biggest bill of its kind in the history of the country. It is a great bill, but unfortunately for Elon, it eliminates the ridiculous electric vehicle mandate, which would have forced everyone to buy an electric car in a short period of time. I've been strongly opposed to that for the very beginning. People are now allowed to buy whatever they want. Gasoline-powered hybrids, which are doing very well, and new technologies as they come about. No more EV mandate. So he goes on and on and on. And he's called basically Elon Musk that he's gone off the rails. Or Elon Musk's first of all, he responded saying, "I ain't reading all that." It says, "I'm happy for you though," or "Sorry that happened." So basically, he didn't read anything. He's just saying, whatever. He also said, "Truth Social." What is that? Yeah, as if he's never heard of that. The app that the president has founded. And by the way, they're starting a whole network where you can watch stuff and Truth Plus or something like that. But now let's go with this, because CNN is saying that. They're starting this party here, but that's not what I'm saying. It's let me see. Where is it? I had it there where they were saying that the stock of Tesla has dropped down after Trump made those announcements that he's going off the rails. I don't know what you think about this whole third political party. This is what I think, personally. I don't think it's going to work. I think Elon is just doing it. I think he's going to get bored of it. I don't think he has the political nous to be a politician. I think his Tesla investors are really losing their minds because they can't keep up with him, and he's making them lose money. I don't believe that he is this patriot guy. I think he really was interested in those EV mandates, and also placing one of his boys to run NASA is inappropriate to do that. To have a friend and then just say, "Hey, put my friend to run NASA." I mean, what is this? I think Elon is a very smart guy, uh, and a genius, and obviously the richest man in the world. But for whatever that's worth, I mean, it is worth a lot, technically, literally. But he's not a good politician. So he needs to just worry about handling his business. Now, listen, he does have influence. He has a lot of money, and he has a lot of influence when it comes to X. That's an app that has a lot of people on it, and that influences people. So he'd do some damage. I think he could. And he did help Trump, but I don't think he got Trump elected. I don't think that's the way it works. And so and a lot of people, based on this feud that has happened between Musk and Trump, people have gone with Trump in the vast majority of the people. So, listen, I don't know necessarily how this is going to end. I think that when it comes to the Trump side of things, Trump can forgive rather quickly, even his enemies. I don't know he'll be able to do that with Musk, but we shall see what happens. I guess that's something to see today. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Now, when it comes to let's go to react to this whole Magdani situation. I think he is. He wants to be the mayor of New York. I think that's very. That's tough to hear, to be honest. Jason Miller rips Mandani, saying that these people need help, and I don't know, but that's what he said. I don't think he is the hope of the Democratic Party. Mandani isn't, but I think what he's done is good. It's the right strategy, but he's really just promising people to be free or to have everything for free, and free comes with a price, as Senator Mullen says. So let's take a watch of what he is saying here.
All right, one big, beautiful bill, one long weekend. Any moment, hopefully, you'll be called to the Senate floor and you'll have an opportunity to vote. All indications are, from everybody I've talked to, and I've been on the phone since my eyes opened this morning, is it will pass in the Senate. Thoughts?
Yeah. Sean, it will pass. It's we're going to go right up here to the very end, debating, trying to get people's issues resolved. But at the end of the day, we've made it very clear. We're going to deliver for the American people. We're going to deliver for the American Party that put truly the Republican Party in place in November. This is President Trump's agenda, and it may not be pretty. We may not get every Republican vote, but we will deliver and put this back to the House. They'll pass it and put it on the president's desk. It's very simple. We have two choices when this comes to the floor. No matter how hard we fought for our idea, we have two choices. A, vote for the bill. And if you vote for the bill, we're saying we're done with the Biden administration. We're moving on to Trump's agenda to make America great again and this economy that is truly thriving because of President Trump's leadership. Or B, we're going to say, hey, let's just stay with Obama era or Biden era policy.
Fight the Oligarchy tour with Grandpa Bernie and AOC, and the virulent anti-Semitism that I hear in the halls of Congress from the Squad and other members. And then these policies that they advocate, New Green Deal, very similar to what Mamdani is talking about doing to New York. This really is now the heart and soul of the Democratic Party. And it seems like the leadership, Chucky Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and others, they won't condemn it. They're afraid of it. But they're afraid of it because it represents the majority in their party. Is that a good analysis, or am I off?
No, you're absolutely right. This is the Democrat Party of today. This is socialism for you. What does socialism have to control the government and control their people? One, they have to control the food supply. Very clear. He made it very clear. He wants government-run grocery stores. There goes your food supply. Two, they have to control your education. How about this? Free education for all. If it's free, it comes with a price because you're beholden to somebody. And then they want to control your health care. Don't forget, free health care. Free health care is called government-ran health care. He knows because he's an openly proclaimed socialist. So is Bernie Sanders. So is AOC, which, by the way, they're the leading candidates for the 2028 presidential election for the Democrats. They all claim to be socialists, and they all want to have government run everything. But isn't this interesting? Have you ever met a poor socialist leader?
No.
Me neither. All of them are filthy rich, but they want everybody else beholden to them.
Well, it's like the Fight the Oligarchy tour. They're flying around the country in a private jet. All right, Senator Mark William, we're going to be watching.
Listen, I think I agree. I mean, Mandani is a socialist. A socialist, well, I guess you can tolerate them, but they can't be in charge of the country, but let alone one of the biggest and most important cities in the world. But a communist should never be allowed in the United States of America. I don't have an issue with him being a Muslim as a religion, but if he's going to use his Muslim religion to be an extremist and an Islamist, I'm not saying that he is saying I'm going to blow up, America. I'm going to send suicide bombers here and there. But he's clearly, but the way he speaks, he cannot. I don't understand this, by the way. For the life of me, I don't understand how people can just not condemn Hamas, what they've done. Now, they can condemn Israel, and I agree that Israel now is going over the line, and now hopefully they're going to have a ceasefire soon. But they can't condemn Hamas. And this guy's the same way. They just can't condemn them. And I just don't understand how that's so hard to do. And I feel like if people just would answer the question, this guy here as well proclaims intifada, sings intifada, whatever you want to say, call it. That should never be allowed in America, because we don't go around saying, we Christian people, we don't go around saying or putting our ideas into politics. We don't have a theocracy, and Islamists do want that. They want a theocracy, and it is unfortunate, very unfortunate. But I hope that New York wakes up and they are able to figure it out, because this is not good for them. Not good at all. All right, we got a few more news to react to, ladies and gents. So please stay right there. Don't go anywhere. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. We are almost done here. Talking about AOC, because they were talking about AOC in that video right there. Cuomo goes off the rails, calling for AOC to leave the Democratic Party. He says, I hope you guys splinter off and become whatever you really are, because you're not a capitalist and you're not a Democrat. You're killing your party. Let's not waste any time. Let's go.
How do you keep them from having the nuke? Impeach Trump is the opposite of having a better idea. You're killing your party. You're killing your party. And look, I hope it works out for you. I hope you guys splinter off and become, whatever you really are, because you're not a capitalist and you're not a Democrat. And, you say, well, what do you know? I was raised by a real one. I was raised by a real one. Go ahead and criticize Mario Cuomo. What's going to be your biggest insult? That he spawned me and Andrew? Is that going to be the best you have? Because you ain't shit compared to him. Not in terms of intelligence, not in terms of success, not in terms of pedigree, not in terms of philosophy, not in terms of mission, not in terms of eloquence, not in terms of charisma, not in terms of anything. Certainly not electability. You are killing your party because you are not a real one. Because you're doing what's good for you in a vacuum. With your little social media following, you're no different than a pod bro. And you're killing your party. And Democrats better wake the fuck up and realize that you're better than this. Be with the 80, not the 20. Okay?
Wow. Cuomo losing his mind. But he's not losing his mind, though. He's actually being right. I think that he did the right thing. I think he did the right thing. He's calling out AOC and these people that are really, they are detrimental to the Democratic Party. I said a million times, I would have been a Democrat if I was born in the 60s, or if I would have been alive in the 60s, more or less born in the 40s. I would have been definitely a Democrat in that age. But I think that was the epitome of the Democratic Party. And he's calling it for what he sees. It's just, I agree with him. You can't bring a communist into to be a governor of New York or the mayor of New York. You can't. AOC is doing this. She's pushing this Mandani guy because she wants to be the president of the United States, and she wants to run for presidency. And Bernie Sanders wants to run for presidency in 2028. Like, are you serious? He still wants to run for presidency for 2028, which is incredible. But what are you doing, man? You're literally, I want to know how old Bernie Sanders is. Seriously. Bernie Sanders must be he'd probably be the oldest candidate ever. He's 83 years of age right now, Bernie Sanders. 83, man. You sound like Elmer Fudd. So what are you doing? You're going to be 87 by the time what is this? It's widely reported that he wants to be a candidate. He should be. Again, we need to add term limits. It just makes no sense. And to be honest, I don't think that the Cuomo thing has anything to do with his brother losing. Listen, I don't think his brother should be running anything anymore. I don't think he makes any sense. I mean, I think he's old as hell as well. So he needs to jump onto somebody that's better. And that's the problem. They don't want to give it up. And now you got Mandani winning. And unfortunately, New York is in this situation. I'm going to go, I think I'm going to go for my anniversary to New York. But boy, Lord have mercy. I'm going to do it right before this guy gets in there. So maybe we'll see something historic and a Democrat will win be the next mayor of New York. Wouldn't that be something? See a Republican. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section below. All right. So with that being said, ladies and gents, let us go with let me see here. What do we got next? Because this is I know what we got next. Jill Biden. This is unbelievable. Joe Biden's work husband refuses to testify on Joe's mental decline. What the heck?
Dr. Jill Biden abruptly refusing to testify in the investigation into the alleged cover-up of her husband's mental decline while he served as president.
Brooke Singman is here with all the details. Hi, Brooke. Hey, guys, that's right. Jill Biden's right-hand man, Anthony Bernal, is refusing to appear before the House Oversight Committee today. Bernal is known for being Jill Biden's quote-unquote work husband, and he said yesterday that he would not sit down for a closed-door interview with the committee. His decision comes after lawmakers say he previously agreed to do so. Committee Chairman James Comer putting out this statement saying, quote, now that the White House has waived executive privilege, it is abundantly clear that Anthony Bernal, Jill Biden's so-called work husband, never intended to be transparent about Joe Biden's cognitive decline. I will promptly issue a subpoena to compel Anthony Bernal's testimony before the committee. But former Biden aide Neera Tanden did testify to the committee on Tuesday, and a source confirmed to Fox that she did admit to being authorized to direct auto pen signatures. Now, that auto pen replicated Biden's signature on documents like pardons, memos, and more. But Tanden was not sure who gave the final approval. A new Fox News poll shows that 52% of Americans believe it's important for Congress to investigate the use of Biden's auto pen, and 50% want to investigate Biden advisors who made key decisions. Meanwhile, the committee is still waiting to hear from Biden's former doctor, Kevin O'Connor, in addition to two other former advisors. President Trump has also instructed the Justice Department to launch a separate investigation into the alleged cover-up. Guys.
Brooke Singman live for us. Brooke, thank you. With that, let us bring in former press secretary for the First Lady, Jill Biden, Dr. Jill Biden. It is Michael LaRosa. And Michael, great to have you on the program. You were hired by Anthony Bernal for the Biden campaign. You are, in fact, his roommate on that campaign. What is Anthony Bernal hiding?
Well, first of all, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that this is not rescheduling for, a personal family emergency or anything. But if it's not, it was a pretty bonehead move because the entire country, the news cycle was devoted to the Iran engagement and President Trump. People kind of forgot about this. Now everybody's talking about it, or at least we are today. And it really does a disservice to the Bidens. And it kind of escalates and confirms suspicions that the Republicans already had. And if you have nothing to hide, there should be no reason not to cooperate. My best advice to him would be to over-cooperate, just like Nira did. And, show, don't tell.
Speaking like a true communications professional, use that what happened in Iran as your cover, because nobody's paying attention. If Iran's going on, he had an opportunity and he didn't jump on it. Yeah, it
would have went under the radar, and people kind of forgot about it. Even mainstream reporters kind of forgot about it until news broke that he is now going to be compelled, and that's sort of an escalation, and it only raises eyebrows, unfortunately, and does a real disservice to Dr. B and President Biden.
Yeah. So listen, the plot thickens. This is a new one for me. I didn't know about Jill Biden's work husband. That was a new. Are you kidding me? I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It needs to be investigated. We need to know what happened. Just like we need to. Actually, that's more important, in my opinion. Well, I shouldn't say that. So I'm not gonna say it, but I think this is very important, and we need to investigate it. And we need to know what happened, the auto pen, the use of these pardons, and we need to know if the president was within his legal capacity to make these moves. He's going to say, yeah. He's going to, when you ask him, he's going to say, yeah. But we need to make sure that that is the case. And Jill Biden's work husband, are you kidding me? What is going on here? Anyway, let me know anything in the comment section below. Listen up. It's been a good show. It's been a wonderful show. I appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate everybody hitting the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow on Rumble, follow on X, and it's been a wonderful one. We're gonna have to call it off. I will see all of you on the next show. All right, just come out, subscribe to the channel. We will see you then. Until then, ladies and gents, my name is Chris Rodriguez. This is Veteran Uncensored. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.